This is me on a plane attempting to beat Minecraft. To know how we got here though, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. I've only seen one other person who's tried to beat Minecraft on a plane. I know it sounds like a really easy task, but surprisingly, no one's done it, and I'm trying to figure out why. I'm gonna be on the plane for 2 hours, so I only have that amount of time to beat the entire game. That's my flight, and it's boarding right now, so I should probably get going. With absolutely no idea of what I was getting into, I got on the plane. There are gonna be quite a few barriers to making this challenge possible. You can see how I had to actually tilt the laptop down due to how little space there was in front of me. Regardless, I loaded into the game and immediately I spawned in the absolute worst biome I could possibly be in. Regardless, I went to punch down a tree and get some tools. However, even this would pose to be a challenge, with the turbulence affecting my mouse aim, making it really hard to do anything. Yeah, it took me like 10 seconds to craft a single axe. In order to get myself into a livable biome, I had to cross the ice ocean. Luckily, as we got to cruising height, the turbulence subsided, but I still had that issue of not being in the right biome. I searched and searched, but I couldn't find a non-cold biome. However, I ended up running into a village. And if you've played this game for any amount of time, you'll know that a village is great news. Immediately, I went to kill the iron golem, and just like that, I finally had one of the most important resources for beating the game. However, that wasn't the end of the road, because night fell, and with it came hostile mobs. Now, I don't know about you, but having to fight off zombies with a laptop trackpad does not sound like the ideal set of circumstances. However, zombies were the easiest mob to fight, and I was able to deal with them pretty quickly. With the hostile mob problem dealt with, the only thing I could do now was go to the mines to get some more resources. And I yearn for the mines like children yearn for Titanfall. I need iron so I can get a full set of iron tools and armor. Having to beat the game with a trackpad and 31 inches of legroom was already enough of a challenge, so armor was essential. However, I noticed as soon as I went into the mines that something was very wrong. The mines were completely dark. When I still had internet, I had completely forgotten to install a gamma mod or a Fulbright resource pack, meaning I really couldn't go into the caves without any torches. Luckily though, there were a ton of lanterns in the village, so I quickly gathered them all. And now, armed with only a shield and some hopes and dreams, I kept going. Remember, every second I spend in this Minecraft world is another second closer to the plane landing. I was trying to be patient, but the seconds were ticking down fast. Besides, I still needed to find a way out of the cold biome. Again, despite the fact I found a village, it was still in a cold biome, meaning I had a ton of things that I still had yet to do. So after searching and searching and searching, I finally found my way out of the cold biome. This was really good news. What wasn't good news though was the sound of my airplane cabin. So you can hear the full experience, let me just quickly switch to that microphone for a second. And I was hearing that pretty much for the entire flight, but I had to tune it out. The only way I was gonna be able to beat this challenge if I was determined and focused. I went onto the ocean on a boat and you won't believe what I found. A plains village ripe for the taking. So I went in, did my usual business of killing the iron golem, and I continued on my journey. Problem was, I was already halfway into my journey at this point. If I was gonna beat the game in any amount of time, I had to get to the nether fast. If I was gonna pull this off, I would need an absolute miracle. And to my genuine shock and awe, dude, you put the camera on this, what the frick? Without even having a map, I find myself right next to a woodland mansion. And woodland mansions have an entire room full of lava and obsidian. Let's freaking go. And then I spawned in the absolute worst nether biome I could ever be in. And here starts the most unnecessarily long and treacherous part of my entire journey. I'll spare you the details, but it sucked. What better way to give someone claustrophobia than to put them in a cramped plane and to put them into a cramped 1x2 tunnel. Whoa, my bad. Guys, the baby is finally asleep. The baby's sleeping. I'm free. And I literally got so tired that I paused the game, and just as I paused, the flight attendant came up and asked me for a drink. Don't call me basic for ordering Sprite. It was literally that or Coke Zero. Oh yeah, that's some good glug glug. And then 5 minutes later, I finished my glug glug. Also, the pretzels were pretty good. Oh yeah, back to that treacherous journey. Just like the cold biome, there seemed to be no end to the basalt delta. Not an end at all. This trend continued for an uncomfortably long amount of time. even to the point where I broke a pickaxe trying to mine blocks. But finally, I made my way out of the basalt delta, only to finally encounter the Nether Fortress. A problem with my trackpad is that it doesn't have physical buttons, meaning that I have to stop moving every time I want to block with my shield. I was starting to very quickly regret the fact that I only had a trackpad, but honestly, things weren't going bad. However, every single mob encounter left me in a state of fear. It genuinely felt like my dexterity was completely taken from me, but luckily, I was still getting progress, despite the fact that everything I did had to come with precautions. And all of a sudden, I stumbled upon the blaze spawner. And you may mistakenly think that means that things are gonna get easier for me from now on, but my flight was so close to landing, and time was ticking. This is going to be a real challenge. Yeah, I only had 20 minutes left. Traversing the Nether was an insane time waster, and there was no way I was gonna take those blazes head on. I built a tunnel under the blazes to try and see if I could make a farm, and for the most part, it already seemed to be working, but it was way too impromptu and not enough effort was put into it, and that meant mistakes would inevitably be made. Realizing this wasn't safe at all, I went to try something else, even going so far as to grab some more wood. My plan was going to be glorious. I remember hearing someone say that mobs always tried to pathfind upwards, so why don't I make a trapdoor above them that I can open and close at any time? Things didn't start working immediately, but I started to flesh out my plans and created an even smaller porthole so they couldn't hit me with their fireballs. At some point they stopped coming up, so I had to refine my plans a little bit more, but eventually I devised a surefire way of bringing them upwards. But with what little food I had, every time I got hit, I started losing more and more saturation. I faced a very harsh reality. Do I go back and get more food, or do I push through and try and get all the blaze rods I need? With not much time till we land at the airport, I chose the second option. So, I didn't end up beating Minecraft. I'd failed my challenge. However, I do have a flight home.